I think our session was very productive in that we heard from a number of business leaders how they have made significant adjustments in their company's operations to change business models and make conscious efforts to try to reach out into some of the poorest countries of the world through their business models and incorporate new approaches, new methods for extending the capacity of their business to deliver technologies to poor communities. This is not without difficulties. And it's not without challenges. As many of the business leaders, I think, pointed out, there are difficulties in pricing products for markets of that sort. There's difficulty reaching down into the lower parts of the pyramid. I think it was important that Dr. Sachs basically said that much of this work ultimately will have to be subsidized, and it's not businesses' role necessarily to solve the poverty problem, but to be good businesses and to find good partners in these parts of the world with whom they can work creatively and discharge their mission as businesses, but at the same time being conscious of the fact that there are needs for affordable and accessible technologies for these poorest populations, and that's a critical role for business to play if we're going to achieve the Millennium Development Goals. I think we had an important discussion about the role of business leaders as public spokespersons or statesmen who step outside of their role as corporate leaders, speaking specifically for their companies, and assume a role as spokespersons in the broader society, where they may be speaking about issues like foreign aid or trade reform or building institutions in developing countries and the importance of that for the success of their own businesses. And I think it's important that they can play a role in educating the public about the importance of these kinds of outcomes. And I think we heard from some business leaders a willingness to take on that kind of public role in the forum of creating public policy and public opinion, and a certain reluctance on the part of other business leaders. But I think it was a very healthy discussion to at least open that line of argument. Well, I think Oxfam has been working very hard over the last 5 or 6 years to engage with corporations, not simply around broad principle, but more recently around the question of whether corporations can in fact adjust their business models to be more pro-poor in character, and whether we can find together win-win outcomes where business can continue to function, doing what it does best, managing logistics, managing its place in the market, and delivering important technologies to the poor, but at the same time with an eye toward being inclusive and pursuing equity in the distribution of those benefits to wider populations. I think BioVision plays an important role in creating a forum for those kinds of dialogues and for forcing all of us to think about what kinds of new mechanisms and new kinds of deals need to be created if we're going to make breakthroughs and really put business and harness the market at the service of poor communities and poor countries around the world.